I am Karuna Kochar, the AVP Branding and Communications at 21K School, also an existing parent. My daughter's been a part of the school for the last 5 years. I know why a lot of people might ask this question, but I believe the question itself is wrong. It's not about which school is better and which is not. At the end of the day, it comes down to what is right for your child. When I was evaluating an online school for my daughter, I was thinking about what she could do with the time she had left. She is an artist, she's already sold a couple of her paintings, and I just wanted something that is flexible, that will allow her to live her life in a way she wants to do it. So it's not about traditional schooling versus online schooling. It's about knowing what is right for your child, knowing how will your child thrive in the future. The concern of a child falling behind in an online school is very, very real. I honestly did not believe that my daughter would be able to cope with education all alone sitting behind a screen. However, it has surprised me to see that over a period of time, she has developed the interest to pick up learning on her own. It is not a forced thing anymore. We don't have to tell her to get up and sit and focus in class. She's doing it on her own. Her homework is completed. She submits it herself. So I have seen a shift from from learning, which is forced, which is like you have to do this and you have to do this in this way, to being something that she's exploring. And while she might take a while to, be right up in the marks, I feel that she's taking responsibility, and that for a child is such a big deal, and that for a parent is such a proud moment. I have read a couple of books on child socialization, and I agree to what they say. Children don't necessarily always socialize in class. They socialize in places that have common hobbies, with children who have common understanding, or they love the same things, like a love for cars, maybe cricket, maybe a sport, or just cycling for that matter. So I realized that while my child also makes friends in school and she's connected with them through WhatsApp, maybe through emails and calls, she has a large friend circle outside the school realm. So she's able to make friends with people in her art class, when she goes swimming, when she's playing. Children bonding over common hobbies carry those friendships a long way. So while I know the notion is a child will bond in class, I grew up a loner myself. I didn't have best friends in school. In fact, I ate my lunch alone in school for the longest time I can remember. However, as I aged and I developed a fond for, a liking for reading, a liking for crochet, maybe traveling, that's where I discovered friendships. So I tend not to believe that they don't socialize. In fact, I feel they socialize much better because they're not put together in a room of the same age. Now they can socialize with children maybe bigger than them, younger than them, as long as they come with the same set of hobbies, likes and dislikes. The discipline of a child in a house is a very, very concerning topic, and more parents are facing the issue where you cannot get your child off a mobile or the television or a laptop screen for the longest time. I won't lie, this is a challenge even in my household. However, learning on a screen is very, very different compared to doom scrolling or watching YouTube videos back to back. And I must tell you this is something you need to experience to understand. When you're learning on a screen, when you're engaging with an audience, when your teacher's talking to you, when you're talking to your friends on the screen, learning, maybe solving quizzes or doing activities, that is an incredible experience. In fact, a child carries back more of knowledge when they learn it on screen. They're just born in the screen age, aren't they? I mean, this generation is introduced to screens way before we were introduced to screens. So I feel that the learning happens very, very well. Now, in terms of discipline and in terms of getting them off a screen post the learning era, post those 3-4 hours of classes, that definitely will come from the parent. I feel like my daughter engages so beautifully in those 3 hours of classes that after that her screen time automatically is quite limited. Like, she might play a game or two, she might chat with her friends. However, I don't see her doom scrolling. She has, she would paint, she would color on the screen, like she'd use apps that help her bring out her artistic side. But that discipline, I think, comes from home. And while the concern is real, let me just relieve you of the stress of screen time in education. That is definitely beneficial and harming in no way. You must read The Pathfinders. This is a book we've released. The Pathfinders Volume 1 and 2 together have 202 stories of heroes who've achieved way beyond you and I, just at such a young age. We have entrepreneurs who are just 12 or 13 years of age who are making so much money already that we can't dream of. We have children who've been invited by NASA. We have children who've achieved internationally in sports, in academics, in mathematics, art, dance, actors, creators, thinkers, believers. We've had children who've written books on environment at the age of 11. So, no, this is not a school only for children who are slow. This is a school for children who want to do more. And spending 8 hours in class, 2 hours in tuitions, 2 hours in travel will not let them achieve that. I remember when I, had a conversation with the founder of the school before I enrolled my daughter. To me, it seemed like just an online school. Like, she'd just go and do the academics online. It's just a shift of, a brick and mortar on the laptop. But you will be surprised. In fact, I was very surprised what it has done to my daughter. She has been able to grow up so beautifully into an individual who understands cultures of different worlds. She has classmates from Japan. She met somebody from Singapore. She knows what is going on in the world. She's up to trends better than anyone else. I mean, she knows exactly what's going on in the Gen Z, in the Gen Alpha culture. She can talk to you about any topic, because while they study online, they're also learning from each other, from the students, from the teachers. They spend so much time interacting on topics rather than by hearting it, that I feel she has grown to be someone with a lot more knowledge as compared to other children her age. And this is not forced. I don't call her and I don't sit with her and say, learn. I don't tell her, this is how this works. She explores it on her own. She comes up with fun facts. She tells us things that shock us. So every night we spend about 30 minutes listening to her after her school day about the new things she did, she discovered, and she's really excited. I think the child being excited to learn is something nobody told me, and is something that surprised me in this online platform. Discovering 21K School was like discovering another way for my child, and I am so proud that I took this step. It wasn't easy. It isn't easy. People do question it even today. But if I had to put it in one word, I think my daughter has learned, and she has learned to fall in love with learning. I think I have achieved more here than anywhere else. Thank you.